Dominic, so wonderful to see you here in Sydney. Thanks for joining us
Thank
here
you,
on
guys.
Kapow. Just wondering what the technique was like when you moved from performing in the UK, say on The Bill, and then found yourself in Star Trek Enterprise. How different was that world?
Oh, about 50 grand a week, mate. I kid you not. I did The Bill 5 times. And they let you do that once a year, and they used to ring up with 3 days to go and go, we have another villain for Keating. Coming to America was a definite change of pace and big production, you know. Getting on a show like Star Trek and working at Paramount those years, that was, welcome to Hollywood, honey.
And in terms of creating that character, the Enterprise was set prior to the Kirk and Spock years. The human race was out there in the interstellar galaxy, not knowing much what to do. Did you have to feel that in your character, wondering which direction to turn in?
That's when I talk about getting that gig, I take a breath, because I watched the original series, and then when we knew we were going to be the prequel to that, that was quite a sort of shot in the arm. I hadn't really seen anything of the other shows. I've since delved in and dipped in to see them now that I'm a part of this whole family.
Yep.
And it's like watching your cousins up on stage and your brother and your auntie or whatever. Yeah, but taking that first step onto I had the unique pleasure of being the first shot of our show too. It was just a little pop shot on the bridge, and I did take a big deep breath, mate, as I carried the baton onto the next incursion of the show. So. But they were momentous years, man. I mean, the time of my life at Paramount.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss we had a great cast. We were very close. And Scott Bakula, I can never talk enough about him and what an incredible leader he was. He made those years joyous and a lot of fun. We laughed a lot. Some of the scenes, when you see them back, you go, I don't know how we got that out, man.
There's great talk about the ensemble cast in every Star Trek series, and like you said, you become family. Do you still keep in touch with your castmates?
I do. Connor Trenier and I are besties, as they say nowadays. I see Anthony a lot at the conventions, and John Billingsley, and Scott has a party once a year. He hasn't actually had it for a couple of years because he's now shooting another show down in New Orleans. So his Christmas time is quite sacrosanct at the moment, but I'm sure they'll be back again, and we all go along to that and get the mulled wine and the jolly festivity. Thank you, Scotty. Don't forget, this Christmas, mate.
Sounds wonderful. Now let's move on to some of the other work that you do. And in terms of gaming and online gaming, video games, all that sort of stuff, we know you from World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. How much as an actor do you have to push forward more a persona when you're performing pretty much primarily with your voice, rather than also having your face on screen?
It is. It's a very different skill, voice work. I do quite a lot of audiobooks too. What you think you sound like when you're in the booth, and then you hear it back and you go, God, that's flat, that's dull, that's not the inflection I needed. It's quite it was an awakening to me. You have to be very precise with your voice, and you have to be very much in the moment with it. Although you're reading off the page, you have to really be in the scene with yourself. And of course, you're never reading with anyone else. You're reading just your lines opposite whoever else. So it's a skill. I'm very I applaud really good voice actors. It's quite a craft. Yeah.
And what do you love the most? There's stage with you, there's television, motion pictures as well, the video game work. What's the love for your life?
I'd like to get back on stage. It's been, I hate to say this out loud, it's been 25 years since I did a play. And I might well get back to London. I have a new agent there that's looking after me, and I think maybe by this time next year I'll be back in London, braving a forthcoming winter, and we'll see. After 25 years away in Los Angeles, I feel the cold. And but yeah, I'd like to get back on stage, and I love working in front of a camera. And those years at Paramount certainly honed that skill. I wasn't green, but nothing prepares you like shooting one episode every week for 4 or 5 years. That was that camera becomes your friend eventually, and you learn how to throw a lot of stuff away and don't gild the lily. In my early episodes, I was a little stagey, and it was a bit of a rude awakening. So yeah, anyway, London and some stage, I think, some hard-hitting plays. That's where I started in. And I'd like to get back and do something like that.
Dominic, thanks so much. Lovely to see you here in Sydney, and we look forward to all that news in the next 12 months or so. And thanks so much for talking with us on Kapow.
Thank you, guys. Nanu, nanu.
I am Cormac, warrior of the Templar Order. Betrayal can never be forgiven.